Worrying about what other people think is something that I've struggled with for a long time. And it's something that I've just recently, I think, started to improve on a little bit. And I just thought it'd be good to talk to you guys about ways in which I've tried to change my mindset to not care so much what other people think. But again, it's still a work in progress. But I think I do have a few pieces of advice I kind of want to share. So yeah, for me, it kind of all starts with self confidence, right? So how do you feel about yourself? Kind of helps determine, you know, how much you care about what other people think. Because when you have confidence in yourself, no one knows you better than you, right? So why would you, if you believe in yourself, why would you care so much what someone else thinks about you? Again, you know yourself better than anybody. So the things I've started to think about are like, okay, am I a good person? Yeah, I think I'm an okay person. And so it's like, okay, so that's good. So and then it's like, okay, do I have goals for myself that are good goals and things that are worth trying to achieve? Yeah, I think so. So, with those things in mind, you start to think about, okay, so all around, I feel like I'm a pretty okay person doing okay stuff. So, you know, it's about self-confidence, right? So when I look at myself, I believe that, I have a good path in life and I'm a good person. Um, and that's kind of helped me start to feel like, okay, so what difference does it make what someone else thinks about what I'm doing? Even if someone else is like, oh, I don't really like his personality, or I don't really like, what he's trying to accomplish. Like, okay, I mean, what difference does that make for me? And I guess the other thing is like, I know that there's people I trust, and I know that there's people who will, have my back no matter what. Now that's a small number of people, but I know that there's a few people like that I have in my life, which is obviously very important for me. If I didn't have that small group of people, I mean, it would be, I feel like, a lot harder to, you know, be able to keep moving forward, because people like that keep you going, and they're the ones who inspire me to, keep moving forward. And so those are the people that I feel like I can trust. The next important thing to remember when you think about not worrying so much about what other people think about you is simply, we're not perfect, you know? I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect, But it's just accepting like, hey, we have flaws. Like, for me, like, I'm not, I'm shy, and I struggle to interact with people, and I'm not the smartest person. I mean, I'm not like the least smart person, but I'm not the smartest, and I'm not the most I'm not really the best at anything, come to think of it. But and yet that's a good thing. That's a I mean, I don't know if it's like a good thing, but it's like, it's nice to know, like, hey, the reality is nobody's perfect. So, who are other people to judge my imperfections, I don't I don't judge other people for their imperfections. I mean, we're all imperfect beings, right? And I guess the point I'm trying to make here is like, hey, there's nothing wrong with not being perfect. And when we try so hard to be perfectionists, which is something I've struggled with the past, like I've struggled in the past trying to be like absolutely perfect, and it's just it's an unattainable goal, and it's something that I feel like is not something that I should worry so much about being perfect, because it's just it's not something it's not possible. It's not possible to be perfect. You can't be perfect at everything. Um, Maybe you can be perfect at some things. I mean, I guess a little bit, but it's just like putting that enormous weight on your shoulders to try to meet a standard that you'll never be able to reach. It's not a it's just I don't know, it's counterproductive, I feel like. And for me, I've tried to go away from trying to be a perfectionist and move more towards like, okay, I'm not perfect, but how can I get better, right? And at the same time, it's like, it's helps me because it makes me realize that people can't just judge me for being imperfect because everyone's imperfect. This one is a really important one, and this is one that I've really had trouble with in the past, and I'm really trying to make a concerted effort to get better at. And it's the issue of feeling like people are paying attention to you or judging you like an extreme amount. And the reality is, people aren't really paying attention to what you're doing that much, you know? Like, I feel like when I'm like out in public and stuff, like I always feel like people are like watching me and people are staring at me and people are judging me. But the reality is, people really don't care that much and they're not really paying attention to you that much. And it's really, it's all in your head. And this is, the issue I have is like I live in my head so much and I start, you know, coming up with all these crazy ideas, like people are thinking that people are watching me and people are judging me. And, it's all just, it really just comes down to overthinking. And that is something that I do a lot, which is overthink. When you overthink a lot, there's just all these crazy scenarios that'll come up in your head. And ultimately, what that leads to is just like anxiety. And you just get anxious of everything and everybody. And so one of the results of that is, you start worrying what other people think. And sometimes when I'm out in public and I'm worrying about like people judging me and stuff, I have to kind of like, slap myself a bit and be like, hey, look, no one's really paying attention to you. No one actually cares. And, you just have to kind of just like, get out of your head and, live in reality. And in reality, people don't really care that much. And, it's just something that it's hard. It's hard for people like me to figure out how to not live in your head so much because we spend so much time in our heads worrying and thinking of all these ways things can go wrong. But I guess the key is just, have a more positive mindset and not think so much about all the things that could go wrong. The last reason I want to talk about why you shouldn't care what other people think about you is that when you spend so much time thinking about or worrying about what other people think about you, it inevitably will hold you back in life and you'll never get to where you want to go if you spend all your time thinking about that. You know what's best for yourself, right? And as long as you feel like what you're doing is good and you're a good person and you're pursuing good goals, don't let anything hold you back. And worrying what other people think about what you're doing is going to hold you back, probably, and it's held me back a lot. And, I think, more recently I've kind of had to just like tell myself like, hey, like you're a good person, you have good goals, just go for it. And you know, don't worry so much. Also, don't worry so much about like the outcome of your goals and if people will be disappointed if you don't reach those goals. Just appreciate the process and appreciate the journey of going through life and just doing what you want to do with your life. And whatever happens, happens. Just as long as you're a good person. And if you spend so much time worrying about people who are judgmental and all that stuff, you know, fuck that. Like fuck worrying about what other people think because it doesn't matter. I mean, not to get too frustrated with judgmental people because inevitably people can be judgmental at times. But you know what? It's just like just be yourself, and why should anyone hold you back from being yourself? That's just the point I'm trying to make, I guess. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and let me know what you guys think in the comments about what I talked about in this video. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. So, yeah,